And then draw your knees into your chest and place your feet down onto the mat if you have a bolster, and just lift up the hips to take the bolster away. And everybody's feet flat onto the mat. We're rolling over to our right and we're coming up into all fours. The next posture is a 3-minute hold. It's quite deep in the shoulders. We're going to be in all fours and we're going to keep our buttocks quite high in the air. And we're going to take our right elbow to the mat and our left elbow to the mat. And you'll find that you already have a little tiny back bend going on here. But we're also going to open up the shoulders. If you have issues with the knees, I suggest you pop cushions underneath your knees. Just walk the hands forward. And either bring a cushion underneath your forehead, or a book or a block underneath your forehead, or take your forehead to the mat. And I'd like you to sort of play around with your arms. Maybe you want to take them a bit wider, make it feel a bit more comfortable. Just want you to sort of ease into this posture. And just experiment with the arms, invest with them a bit wider, or a little bit more in front. And of course, those who may find this a little bit tough, then you can always walk your hands back and just simply come into child posture. With nice long arms. So there's lots of choices to take. I want you to be aware of what's happening in the armpits, in the shoulders, in that light back bend that we're experiencing right now. Remember, you can always return to child posture if it's a little bit too intense. Just a couple more breaths. We will walk the hands back and we will all release into child posture. Soften the arms a little bit, draw them back towards the body a little bit. And from here, we're going to lay on our tummies. Just laying on our tummies. Bring your hands underneath your forehead, one on top of the other. And take your gaze to the left. Bring your gaze to the center. Take a couple of breaths here. And then take the gaze in the opposite direction to the right. Working into that neck a little bit as well. Then bring the head back to center again. And then we're just going to ease ourselves into Sphinx posture. So just shoulders over elbows. You can have your bolsters and place the bolster or cushions underneath your armpits. It's more restorative, but it's still a back bend. Or you can stay in your Sphinx posture. It's 3 minutes. You can even support your head as well if you wanted to. You can come into your Sphinx and maybe support your head on a block or a pillow. So we're working with the Visshuda chakra, the throat chakra. Center, focus of higher creativity and expression. Do we express all that we feel or hold back and choke the words instead? Sometimes we tend to hold back things that we want to say, and this will affect the throat chakra. Where expression is stifled either by self or imposed by others, the energy of this center will be impeded, which physically would be the voice, the throat, nose, ears. The thyroid are all governed by this chakra, the Visshuda chakra. The color is blue. So those who may want to have a deeper back bend and work into the arms and the shoulders, feel free to take your seal posture where you take your hands wider and we lift up and stretch the belly. You stay where you are, Malcolm? No, stay back. It's nice, easy breathing. You'll feel a lot of strength in the arms in this position. I asked Malcolm to stay where he was because when he comes into this position, he lifts up the pubic bone off the mat and it's too intense. We want to really have that pubic bone on the mat for this long hold. So you have the stretch in the belly, but you can really feel the hips anchored to the earth. So you may be with the bolster, cushions underneath you, you may be with your Sphinx posture, as Malcolm is, or you may be in seal posture. Whichever posture you're in, if you want to, just drop your head down and work into the back of the neck. And then we release down, all the way down. We bring the hands underneath the forehead again. And we slide our right leg up towards the right elbow. And we'll gaze to the right. This is a nice decompression of that work we've just carried out in the spine. And then we'll slide that leg back and just do exactly the same with the opposite leg and turn the gaze in the direction of the raised knee. So the knee is sliding along the mat and we just settle here. And then we'll come back into Sphinx, just so that you can see the next movement that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to do something called pretzel. It's called pretzel, and it's working into the shoulders. We're going to lay down on our mat, and I'm going to take my left arm underneath my chest and spread it along and take my right arm forward. And then I'm just going to bow my head. And these postures are just for 2 minutes. And this is where you really need to be aware of anything that's really untoward happening there. So the chakras are the energy centers that run throughout our bodies. And this Visshuda chakra is in the throat. The color is blue. So I'd like you to think about a nice, beautiful blue. You see it swirling around your shoulders, easing out any tension from the shoulders. Think about really calming the body down in these somewhat long holds. Really working with the nervous system and yet opening up the body, the fascia, the connective tissue that often gets very tight. Just a couple more breaths. And then very slowly we'll bring those hands back underneath the forehead again and we soften them. And then we'll take the opposite elbow through and take the top arm long, and we'll settle in for our 2 minutes. And we can observe which side is much more happy to do this or much more challenged. We hold a considerable amount of stress in our shoulders. It all lays around in the shoulders. So again, I'd like you to think of that blue color swirling around. If you did manage to watch the video that I sent to you on the connective tissue, it's well worth a watch if you haven't watched it. And it just explains that if we don't move our body, then this fascia and this connective tissue gets tighter and tighter, and it really limits what we can do. It just reminds us of that old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's very, very true with the body. We need to keep that body open, keep those joints oiled. We do this in our yin. And just one more breath. And we'll slide the arms back, hands underneath the forehead, and we settle. So from this posture, we're going to roll onto our backs. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. And you can pop cushions underneath your knees. They can go underneath your knees to support the knees. We're opening up the hips in this passive posture. You can also have your bolster underneath your feet, which will increase the hip opening. So you can place your feet on top of the bolster. Now this will open even deeper into the hips. And then we're just going to take our arms up over our shoulders and have a really nice opening of the armpits as well. Now think about what's happening with the shoulders. They may not be happy with this posture. So maybe you can put cushions underneath your hands and this will decrease a little bit any impingement on the shoulders. Maybe take the arms a little bit wider. So you want to really get yourself into the position where it feels accessible to you. You can even have one arm down and one arm up. Place one hand on your belly if you want to, and one arm up. So I want you to really explore how the body's feeling in this posture. So although it may seem quite restorative, it is fairly challenging to stay here for this length of time. You can always bring your arms down by the side of your body if you want to, and just open up the hips. And this gives us a wonderful opportunity to be aware of our breath, belly rising and falling with the breath. And if it's all a little bit too much on the arms, you can just grab hold of the elbows and just soften the posture in that way as well. Then again, think about that beautiful blue color. Maybe it's dark blue or pale blue. It's swirling around your shoulders, traveling into the arms, into the wrists, into the fingers. Think of it as soothing you. Maybe it starts dark in color and then gets lighter and lighter. Where is the deepest sensation? Is it in the groin, the hips? Is it in the shoulders, the armpits? At this moment in time, where is your deepest sensation? We're coming to the end of this long hold. Let's just take the arms very slowly down by the side of our bodies. Place the hands on the belly. Feel the warmth of the hands on the belly and just focus on your breath. Belly rising on the inhale, belly falling on the exhale. And imagine that blue color that's possibly in the hand just seeping into the abdominal area. You just really want to calm our nervous system down in these postures. Then bring your hands outside the knees and just gently draw the knees slowly together. You'll start to feel what's been happening there. And then draw one knee into your chest, give it a nice squeeze. Place that foot flat onto the mat and draw the other knee into the chest and give it a squeeze. And then both knees come into the chest and we have just a little bit of movement here. You can take your legs up to the ceiling again if it feels appropriate. And then bring the knees into the chest. Place the feet flat onto the mat. We're rolling over into a comfortable seated posture. So it's another 5 minutes hold. If you're lucky enough to have bolsters, the bolsters can come underneath your knees, or your cushions can come underneath the knees. And we're going to open up the shoulders by rolling over into our butterfly position. Bowing the head. If you don't want the bolsters, you don't have to have the bolsters. And if you don't want to do this forward bend, you can simply just go back onto your back again and lay down in that manner. If it feels like you're not happy to do this forward bend, then maybe lay down and leave the arms to rest, but just open up the hips in that manner. So forward bends are quite powerful. So if you have sciatica or any serious back issues, perhaps you'll lay on your back. So the sense of this chakra is hearing. The organs are the thyroid, the vocal organs, the ears, the skin, the spine, and the cervical. Shoulder stand would be the posture that would be associated with this chakra. And the key word of this chakra would be communication. The psychological obstacle is cynicism. And the relationships of this chakra are actually with yourself. So the energetic anatomy of the chakra is pure food, thought and speech. Chanting and praying will facilitate higher consciousness and uplift the spirit. If you don't like chanting, you can do singing. Recognizing the power of thoughts, words, and actions in creating reality. So the intention of this chakra is communication, purification, surrender, willpower, and personal expression. Creativity, faith, and knowledge are all the intentions of this chakra. So we've completed this long hold of 5 minutes. And very slowly we're going to rise up, nice and slowly. And once we're up, we're going to pick up the back of the knees and take the feet separated. And then we'll just do that nice little windshield wiper that we know so well. Fingertips behind us, and we'll just drop the knees to the right and to the left. So continuing to work with the shoulders. And again, you'll work at your own pace and you'll do what you want to do by listening to your body. These postures are 2-minute holds. We'll have the legs long. Lots of options for the legs. We're going to take the right foot across the left, external hip rotation, and open up the fascia and connective tissue in the hamstrings of the left leg. So we can stay like this, great posture, or we can take this left foot to the right by leaning to the left and flicking to the right. And we're working with both hips. And we'll just forget about the hips, so whether you're in the position that Malcolm's in, and he may support his knee with a bolster or something to make it a little bit more accessible. And we're just going to work with the shoulders. So it's 2 minutes. Long arms, right over left, and let's give ourselves a hug. This may be all that you want to do. The spine is straight, the hips are just marinating on their own. If long legs, the hamstrings are working as well. If you want to go deeper and it feels appropriate to you, take your arms long, right over left, and we eagle the arms, so we try to clap the hands together, and this may work for you as well. We're just going to stay here with the arms low. The spine is straight. Often when we're working with this chakra, it's sometimes beneficial to think about how often we hold back from saying things that we want to say. And this does create tension in the neck and the shoulders and the throat. And it is important to express yourselves, to say what you want to say, but we say it with kindness and with caution, because once words have been spoken, they cannot be taken back. So please do feel free to express yourself, but think carefully of the words that you choose to express yourself. Your opinion is of great value. So we've completed our 2 minutes. We'll unravel the arms if they're wrapped. Just bring your fingertips to your shoulders and just draw the elbows together. And just do a nice little circle, just releasing any tension there. And the elbows together and just reverse that movement. And then I'm just going to lean back and change legs. So again, option 1, the leg is crossed over. Option 2 is the right leg. We lean to the right and flick behind you and settle ourselves down. Timer is on. Long arms in front, left over right. Your hug first of all. This may be just all you'll need to do. Or your eagle arms, left over right, and eagle the arms. So bring your attention to the shoulders, whichever position you're in. Get a nice stretch. An opening of that connective tissue in the upper back, thoracic. And then maybe think about that blue color just sweeping down your back, just flowing down the back. Just releasing tension in the shoulders. Sense of calm going into the spine. Like rivers of comfort. Couple more breaths. Then we release the arms and bring your arms into what we call angel arms. We want to open up this chest area. Bring the others together and expand and open the chest. So draw the shoulder blades together behind you. So this is the area you want to open up. So if you're on a computer, then every hour, open up this chest. Really think about working with the opposite side of the body because you're always in forward bend and everything's pressured here. So we want to open up the chest. Bring some love in, open up that heart. Let's do one more. And then we release down. And we'll lean back if we're double leg crossed and unravel the legs. So the next posture, we'll be working quite deeply into the shoulders. We're going to open up the chest at the same time and do the hips simultaneously for all 2 minutes. We're going to take the right leg over the left. Then bring your hands behind you. You're going to lean back a little bit. So we can open up this chest. And this may be as far as you'll go, and that's absolutely fine. Or that leg that's long in front of you, you may bring the foot flat to the mat. And this is going to take it into the hips. So you'll feel it in the hips. Chest is open. Chest is proud. For those who want to take it into the shoulders and the arms a little bit more, the elbows, turn your palms away from you and walk your hands back a little bit further. And you can even intensify the hip by bringing the heel in a bit closer. So now we have the chest opening, we have the shoulders really externally rotated, and we can stay here. Think about the chest, really proud, the arms are strong. So a little bit of a yang posture. You can even bring the hands a bit closer together, which will really intensify that stress in the elbows. Nice easy breathing. Gaze is neutral. Couple more breaths. And then we'll simply change sides. The nice long legs again. And then the opposite leg comes across, and you can just simply stay there. You can bring the hands, lift up the chest, and you can stay here. All great postures. Or you can bring that long leg foot flat. Flex this foot. You can walk your hands, pointing fingers away if you want to. Really open up the chest. You'll see some little tiny bit of a back bend as well. So lots happening here. And obviously the closer you bring the feet in, the more into the hips. And the further you take away your arms, the more into the shoulders. And again, the closer the hands are together. So this is probably the last tough posture on the shoulders. Remember, you can always ease out of it if you want to. Or go deeper. Gaze is neutral. Maybe do a little walk in, or a little walk away, a little arms a little bit closer. Whatever feels good to you. Lift up that heart, open up that chest. And feel this stress in the elbows if you are in the deepest posture. Just a few more breaths. And then we release the posture and take those arms nice and wide now. Just stretch out any last bit of tension that may be there. And I'm going to settle ourselves down for a nice restorative posture. So you're going to have your bolster props in front of your cushions. You're going to come pull the bolster in towards us, and you can even put cushions underneath the bolster as well. There are lots of cushions in front of you. You're just going to lay down and maybe turn your head to the right. Turn your head to the right. You okay with that position? And again, if knees are a real serious issue, you can still come back onto your back again and have the same posture upside down. So if you do have neck tension, it's quite often due to lack of communication. Possibly lack of self-assertion. A weak throat chakra would manifest itself in sore throats, mouth, gums, stiff neck, tension, headaches. Sometimes excessive talking, or maybe an inability to listen. Hearing difficulties are associated with this throat chakra as well. That's only if you've got an unbalanced throat chakra. A balanced throat chakra would be striving towards purity in food, thought, and speech. So turn your head very slowly in the opposite direction, so we're working into the neck, and then just rest it in the opposite direction. So think about the company that you keep, the TV that you watch, the books that you read, the foods that you eat. Bring purity into your system. You can have indulgences, that's absolutely acceptable. But just by being aware of how we live is very important to us. There's an old story about a man who's very angry, full of anxiety, very stressed, and he sees a monk and asks the monk if he'll walk with him because he wants to gain some of his calmness. So the monk agreed to do this, and they went on a long, long walk. And the man gave all of his problems to the monk. He went on and on and on and on. And he felt that he was really gaining some calmness from the monk. Until the monk turned around and slapped him hard. And he said, "Why have you slapped me so hard?" And the monk said, "Don't walk your dirty feet in my mind." So that's why I mention the movies we watch, the books we read, the news we listen to. Maybe we don't have to listen to it all. So bring your head back to the center now and just relax. And from this position, we're going to very, very slowly roll up, nice and slowly. We'll just finish with a very restorative twist. So, laying on our backs. We're going to have a cushion or a bolster to the right of our bodies. Stretch out your right leg. I'm just going to drag the left knee across the bolster. So it's very restorative. And then we're going to take the left arm nice and wide. We're going to open up that chest again. And then take your gaze to the left. Then calming everything down. The body wants to be calm. Sometimes we don't allow it to be so. Just simply by turning off your car radio, turning off the TV, and having some silence in your life. The body will welcome that. The mind will welcome that. We're just going to roll onto our backs and roll any cushions that you may have onto the other side of the body. And that would be the left leg is long, and we're going to drag that right leg across. Settle the right shoulder down. Gaze to the right. Sometimes even when we're walking, we take our iPads with us and pop things into our ears instead of listening to the sound of silence and nature. We all know that silence is golden. Just a few more breaths. And then I'd like you to settle yourself into a pure relaxation posture. Bolster underneath maybe your knees, pillow under your head, a blanket to cover you, perhaps socks. Just think for a moment now how you're going to make yourself truly comfortable. And then we'll roll onto our backs, place feet flat onto the mat, and draw right knee in, give it a squeeze. Left knee in, give it a squeeze. Both knees in, and have a little roll around. And then find your optimum comfort position. I'm going to be giving you a visualization relaxation. Please do stay if you can, if you have the time. Pop the bolster underneath your legs. If you have one, let the legs just straight, or let the knees be supported. Just allow the whole body now. Make sure you're really getting yourself comfortable. But just settle the whole body down. And we know that blue is the colour associated with the throat centre, the Visshuda chakra, the pure chakra. I'd like you now to focus on the colour blue. Feel it as a strong, vibrant glow. Allow this colour to go around your body like an aura of light. Allow this colour to surround the body, radiating healing. And as it grows around you, it forms a cloak of protection. Be aware of your breath, just coming and going. You're starting to feel relaxed. Now imagine you're waiting beside a lake. It is a warm day. The lake is still and placid. And a small boat is coming towards you. And you recognize the boatman as a friend. He invites you into the boat. And you sit down and admire the view. A beautiful day. Crystal clear water. Not a ripple in sight. Only the movement the oars make. All you are aware of is the blue sky, blue lake, and the sound of oars skimming the water. Eventually you come to a small island, and on this island is a small castle. Someone is waiting to greet you at the door. You are being made very welcome. You are directed into a large room, and blue light fills the room. It seems to filter down from the ceiling, cascading onto a deep blue velvet chair. You are guided to sit down on the chair. And as you sink into the deep blue velvet, feel a cloak being draped across your shoulders. It feels soft and warm and comforting. You feel, although guide is saying to you, allow this blue velvet cloak to be your protection, and put it on any time you're in need of help or healing. Now allow the warmth of the cloak to help you relax deeper and deeper into the velvet chair. All too soon, you find yourself back in the rowing boat, drifting along back to the lakeside. You know you have been comforted. You know that at any time at all, you can ask to wear the deep blue velvet cloak.